Well, hello there. You look like someone who wants to earn from open source contribution and also want to make some good contribution in it because it's a good thing to do and you should be doing it. Well, buckle up because we're going to go through all of the open source contributions as much as I know, their application deadlines and the money that you can earn from it. Well, first let's go through what is open source contribution. So an open source code is something that is open to public and you have the access to it. You can modify it, improve it. So open source contribution can be anything. It can be as simple as finding a bug and fixing it, setting up the documentation, or introducing a new feature to the repo. So open source contribution can also include creating new features, new bugs, or implementing the documentations. It can be anything. It's open source, so it's up to you to decide what you are comfortable to doing. So open source contribution is a very integral part of IT community. So you're using many of these open source projects as of now. Some of the best examples are Linux, Apache Foundation, MySQL, TensorFlow, Visual Studio Code, Git, React, and the list goes on. So why should you be part of this open source contribution? So apart from money, there are many benefits of being part of open source community. Number one, the beauty of open source contribution is that there is no entry test. There is no prior experience required. Anyone can get involved. Anyone can start contributing to open source community. In order to start contributing to an open source repository, you don't need to be amazing at any particular tech stack. You don't need any prior experience. You can be a complete and total beginner in that. So you can always start by setting up your own repo, fix some bugs, some good first issues, find some good beginner friendly bugs, and you're already doing better than 99% of the engineers. Number two, think of it as a boot camp for engineers, but without the yelling sergeant. It's a great way to meet other engineers and get free mentorship. So you could be working from the basement of your mother and you could be collaborating from engineers from big tech. So you could be building your professional network with other contributors, and you might also find your own soulmate in some pull request. Number three, and a really good one, that it can make your resume really stand out. So if you are doing open source contributions, your LinkedIn profile will really stand out in front of anyone. So who doesn't like a good deed and also end up earning something from it, right? So there are many amazing open source contributions which will pay you an amazing stipend, will build your growth, will build your network, and are also beginner friendly. So you get to work with amazing mentors and also have a stipend on the side, which is like a cherry on top. So let's get right to it. What are these open source contributions? So there are many open source contributions. So I will be going through all the famous open source contribution competitions, and then at the end of the video I will link all of them with their deadlines and their stipend. So stay tuned. So the first one is of course Google Summer of Code. It is the most prestigious and famous open source contribution in the world. It pays you around 1500 to 6500 stipend, and you get to work with Google mentors, and it looks really good on your resume as well. So if you want to be hired as a full-time engineer at Google, this really helps. I have met a lot of Google engineers who were actually open source contributors on Google Summer of Code, and then they were hired as a full-time engineer. And the application process is open now, so I would really advise to start applying there. So the next one is Google Season of Dogs, and if you're someone who doesn't like coding that much and would like to enhance their technical writing skills, I think this is an amazing opportunity. The applications start in May and the whole program lasts for 6 months, starting from May and ending in December. This also pays really good stipend, and the stipend usually depends on organizations that you are working for. So for all the people who don't like coding but would also like to enhance their open source contributions, this is the program to go. And you know the fun about these open source contributions, that it's all remote. You don't have to go there in person in order to participate. You can just, both the mentors and mentees can work remotely. So the next one is Outreachy, which provides internships in open source and open science. So Outreachy really focuses on people who have been subject to underrepresentation or certain bias. So I believe that people from Southeast Asia really have a good chance in it. You know the best part is that it pays a whopping amount of 7,000 USD. And if you've just missed the deadline, I have a good news for you, that they run 2 programs every year and each cycle runs for 3 months. So their next cycle is going to begin in August, and I would really recommend you to stay tuned. Also, Outreachy really focuses on women and people of color. So all the women engineers out there, I would really recommend you to apply this program. You know the best part about these open source contributions, that you don't have to pay a penny. You only have to pay for your internet, unless you hack your neighbor's internet, and in that case, good luck trying 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 password. So the next one is the Linux Foundation, which is another prestigious program which is working towards scaling open source projects. So the stipend depends upon the location where you're working from, but basically the stipend is between 3,000 USD to 6,600 USD, which is amazing. So this program basically offers 3 cycles. So the first cycle runs between March to May, and the second cycle runs from June to August, and the third one runs from September to November. So this gives you ample time to apply to different cycles. So this Linux kernel open source program not only offers money stipend, but it also offers travel to industry conferences. So the next one is Alibaba Summer of Code, which is similar to Google Summer of Code. It has organizations, it has mentors, and you get to work with different mentors. So at the end of the program, you get a certification of completion, and it is mainly for students. The program starts in May and it ends in August. So it works like an internship program. At the end of the program, you also get good stipend based on the organization that you're working with. So I can also see that Alibaba Summer of Code has really great projects like Apache Flink, SQL Flow, and Alibaba Cloud Linux. And not only that, your code becomes part of official repository, which in itself is really respectful. So the next one is Xorg Foundation, which is part of official Google Summer of Code organization, but they also started their own program to accommodate more students. So their timeline is around 3 to 4 months of near full-time work. So I would really recommend to apply to this organization during the summertime. So the stipend that they pay is around 2,500 to 3,000 USD, and it's also limited to students. But the best part about this program is that it can be started anytime. So whenever you can submit a project, and if it gets accepted, you can start there full-time. Coming up, next one is Hyperledger Mentorship Internship Program, which works hand in hand with LFX Mentorship. The applications are actually open right now, so I would really recommend applying. So the program starts from April and it ends in November, and it is mostly part-time. So the mentee stipend is between 5,000 to 6,600, but I would really recommend to check their official page. Summer of Haskell 2023. So this program works independently like Google Summer of Code, and they also accept mentees and mentorship. So another amazing thing about Hyperledger Foundation and LFX Foundation is that you also get to travel for conferences and get to present your work. So, travel goals. So for this Summer of Haskell 2023, the applications are open in April. So I would really recommend start applying. And the program will finish by 13th of November. And it pays the same amount as Google Summer of Code. So if you're not selected in Google Summer of Code, no worries, you can still apply to this program and get the same amount. So there are many ways to contribute to these open source projects. You can improve documentation, improve the code base, add new bugs, help tries different issues with the existing users. There are many ways. It's just not about coding. Sometimes it's also about improving the code base as general. So the next one is 24 pull requests, which is a 1-month program. It starts in December, and unfortunately I couldn't see any money in it, but sometimes you have to do something for free as well. Okay, not everything will involve money. Yeah, but it's just for 1 month, so I think you can do 1 month unpaid internship, which will look good on your CV and will also help you get some mentorship. So the next one is Code Heat. So it's a coding contest, but it's for open source contribution. So it is separated into 2-month periods. So if you contribute more than 10 pull requests, you can get amazing winning prizes, and even if you contribute 5 pull requests, you can get some swag out of it. So it's a good deal. I would take it. So the first cycle starts in November and it ends in January, and the second cycle starts in March and it ends in May. And the amazing part is that it's open to developers, engineers, students, professors from all over the globe. So you can just sit anywhere in the world and contribute in this contest. So the next one is Cross Open Source Program. So inspired by Google Summer of Code, Cross Foundation has launched their own program where students can apply to a list of projects and they can do certain internships. So the goal of this foundation is to increase students' capabilities in open source, match them with certain mentors, and also fund their projects during this internship program. So they really value diversity and inclusion. So if you are from an underrepresented group, I would really highly recommend you to apply for it. And it's similar to GSOC. It's like a summer internship where you get to work on a project, and at the end of the project you submit your work and then you also get to present it. So I'm aware that these open source programs look really enticing because they pay really well as well, but don't worry if you don't get accepted. You can still apply to open source programs which are free, and even though you don't get a stipend, you still earn tons of experience from it. So just like this Free Software Foundation program. So this program offers 3 cycles in 1 year, and every cycle is 3 months long. And another similar program which doesn't pay stipend but is also very well known is Season of KDE. So it's open to all people with all ages, no matter what your background is. Even if you're a student, a professional, or a professor, it's open to you. So it's a 12-week program and you can get mentorship from experienced mentors. So I'm linking all of these open source contributions in the video. I hope this was helpful and this has motivated you to apply to these competitions. And even if you don't end up earning from it, I'm pretty sure that you'll earn tons of experience. So it's definitely a great thing to showcase on your CV. If you have open source contributions on your resume, recruiters will definitely prioritize you over other candidates. So I hope this video was really helpful to you. Feel free to share it with other students, IT professionals. It can really motivate someone to start contributing to open source, and I'll keep making similar videos like these, so stay tuned. Peace.